Today on Legally Yes, Bryan Abasolo wants to maintain his upper-class lifestyle amid his split. Plus, Channing Tatum fires back at Jenna Dewan. And can Kendrick Lamar and Drake take legal action? We've got that plus so much more on today's Legally Yes. Hey everyone, I'm Christina, and that's, of course, Neama Rahmani, President and CEO of West Coast Trial Lawyers, and welcome to Legally Yes. Hi, Neama. How are you?
Doing great, Christina. How about you?
I am doing good. Lots of drama to get to today, so let's get right into it. Starting with the Bachelorette's Bryan Abasolo. So he claims he is unable to maintain his and estranged wife, Rachel Lindsay's standard of living as they go through their divorce. Court documents reveal their fight is over money. So he requested emergency spousal support and for the former Bachelorette to cover at least $75,000 in legal fees. He claims she is using their marital funds to pay for her own legal fees, but refuses to let him access the money. So after a brief bi-coastal marriage following their 2019 wedding, he packed up his chiropractic practice and moved to LA to be with Rachel. Amid her success, they had an upper-class marital standard of living. They dined at celebrity hotspots such as Nobu and Ketch and traveled around the world, with Bryan noting that they frequently, if not always, flew business class and stayed at the finest hotels. So he pretty much wants to keep this standard of living. He now makes $1,300 per month, which is less than his recurring expenses. He pays $6,500 in rent, $1,000 in restaurant meals, $1,500 for groceries, $2,500 in entertainment. So he is seeking financial assistance, and they both still live in this house because now he's saying he wants this money so he can move out because it's very awkward. What do you make about this, requesting emergency spousal support in his current situation?
Well, Christina, there's a lot going on, but we got to start with the state of the divorce. And obviously, we're here in California, although the couple, I believe Bryan was from Florida and she's from Texas. Also, we have to note that Rachel is a lawyer herself.
That's right.
She practices family law. So Bryan is in a world of hurt here because financially he makes a lot less than her, and he's getting a divorce with a lawyer. Now, California is a community property state, which means that even a husband can get spousal support or alimony, which is what Bryan is asking for. And if Rachel has the funds to pay for Bryan's lawyer, then Rachel has to do that as well. So this is during the interim period while the divorce is pending. And of course, the judge will issue some sort of final spousal support order, put the parties in the same position as they were while they were married after the divorce.
Do you foresee maybe like kind of like an Ariana Madix, Tom Sandoval situation when it comes to the house? Like, why do you think that they haven't put the house on the market yet? Is that kind of like the last thing that they would have to deal with? Because that would obviously give him quite a bit of money then.
They really should. I believe Rachel is arguing that the house was separate property because she bought it before they were married. And I know that Bryan's saying, well, no, the increase in value was during the marriage. So the judge is going to have to decide, is that home, is it separate property that Rachel owned before and that's going to belong to her? Or is it community property because the majority of the increase in value occurred during the marriage? And like Tom and Ariana, unless there's some sort of resolution and some buyout where one person pays the other, then the house will have to be put on the market and sold if it's community property, and those proceeds will be divided between the two.
So do you think that Rachel's going to have to pay up in this situation, at least a little bit?
I think she will, because I believe that she is a higher wage earner, and I don't think Bryan is making a whole lot of money right now. And really the house is going to depend on when she bought it compared to when they got married, and really where's the equity? Is it something that she put the down payment down, and we know that the housing market hasn't done too well in Los Angeles since then? If so, then it's going to be mostly or all separate property. But if it's something that he contributed to, either in terms of the down payment or the mortgage payments, then Bryan may have a case and he may be able to get part of that house.
And how long does usually spousal support last for? Obviously, there's no children involved, so we're not paying child support. We're talking about spousal supports here. So how long does that usually go for?
Well, there's a presumption that if someone is married 10 years, that they're going to get spousal support for life in California. Now, obviously, they weren't married 10 years, so there will be some less period of time, and that's something that the judge is going to have to decide. But Bryan will probably get spousal support for years, but certainly not for life.
So, all right, moving on over to Channing Tatum. So he is vehemently denying claims made by Jenna Dewan that he is hiding assets tied to earnings from Magic Mike. As a representative for the actress tells People magazine that she is hoping for an honest conclusion to their ongoing legal battle. So she submitted a court filing amid the ex's current legal battle over finances in their divorce proceedings, in which she accused Channing of working with third parties to shield profits made from the film franchise, which was created while the pair were still married. He refuted the claim, stating, "I've never denied her share of any community assets or income. Her claims that I have colluded with third parties are completely false." In a statement to People, a representative for Jenna said, "Is Channing really calling Jenna a liar for trying to get back an asset that he effectively stole from her in clear violation of California family law? These latest smears are falsehoods, are really just more of the same bullying and gaslighting Jenna has been subjected to for years." Regardless of whether Channing chooses to do the right thing, Jenna is confident that the law and the facts are on her side. And she hopes that this will come to an honest conclusion. We talked about this case a couple of weeks ago, but what do you make of this latest, that Channing is lying, Jenna's lying? It's kind of like a he said, she said thing now.
Yeah, Christina, we're getting more details now regarding the allegations. And I mean, obviously, we know California, community property state, anything that's earned by either spouse goes into the community and it's split 50-50. Of course, absent some sort of prenup. Now, anything that's earned before the marriage or after, that is separate property. And I think Jenna's argument here is that Channing is doing something, either delaying payments or trying to somehow hide the payments so they would fall outside that community. I'm not saying the allegations are true or not, but that's the legal argument here. Jenna is trying to say, hey, the payments that you received, this should be split 50-50. And Channing is saying not. And that's where accountants and lawyers get involved to see really what is the source of those payments. Are they really community or are they separate property?
She's saying that he's violating some California family laws. Which laws would he be violating?
It's a general law related to community property. You know, if I earn something as the CEO of West Coast Trial Lawyers, I don't have a prenup. My wife is entitled to 50%, period. So that's the law. Now, if I try to divert those funds into a separate account, either in my name or someone else's name, or if I get divorced and I try to delay payments, even though they were earned during the marriage to some later time, well, that would violate California family law because I'm trying to hide community property funds from my spouse.
Right. And even if, and I believe she's also arguing that some of the money that was made in the Magic Mike franchise after they were divorced, is she also entitled to that as well?
So that's the argument, that was the money, was it earned during the time that they were married? If they were earned, but they were paid later, then they really should be community funds. Otherwise, you know, what I could do is just say, hey, I'm getting divorced. I'm just going to stop earning anything, right? Stop my payroll, stop any distributions. Basically, no checks coming in. Once my divorce is finalized, I get paid. Well, you can't defer what would otherwise be a community asset till after the divorce and make it separate property. Just doesn't work that way.
Interesting. All right. Well, moving on to a big story that happened, that's been happening over the past couple of weeks. So Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been engaged in a lyrical battle in recent weeks that escalated. The two artists each released songs about the other. In one case, with Kendrick not even waiting a full hour before he dropped a track in response to one of Drake. So the feud, in which each rapper has made numerous unverified allegations, prompted Drake to respond in a song that he's disgusted by Kendrick's claim about him, including that he has a secret child and engages in sex with underage girls, which he denies. So in one of his songs, Drake said he would have been arrested were there any truth to the allegations about him having inappropriate relationships with underage girls. So he has a 6-year-old son, also suggested that he leaked false information about having a daughter to Kendrick. So Kendrick had that information, and Kendrick has yet to respond, but he previously released his song Not Like Us, which was Kendrick's 4th diss track aimed at Drake. There's a lot going on here. The track can be described as another verbal attack against Drake, with allegations of Drake allegedly grooming young women, seemingly accusing him of pedophilia. And then just today, Drake's Toronto home was at the center of a shooting, which has left one person seriously injured. It's reported that it's his bodyguard, but who knows if the two are tied together, just a strange coincidence. So there's obviously been rap feuds throughout the years, but can one take legal action against one another if the allegations are so serious?
Christina, they can. If someone's alleging that, you are a sexual abuser, a predator, they have an illegitimate child, you can absolutely sue for defamation. Now, as we've seen over the years, these types of rap beefs, they're normally handled in the streets and not in the courtroom. Hopefully it doesn't rise to the level of violence that we saw with Biggie and Tupac and some of the other rap feuds over the years. So can Drake file a lawsuit? Absolutely. Will he do it? Probably not. Now, if, however, there is an allegation of sexual abuse of minors, and we still don't know what's going to happen with Diddy, I believe that he will be prosecuted. That's something that law enforcement officials will look into because that's serious. It involves minors. So not only are we talking about a potential civil lawsuit, but a criminal investigation as well, if there's any merit to those allegations.
Yeah. So could these songs, these verses, and these allegations, do they run red flags to police? Will police look into things because, of something that they hear on the radio or something like that?
Law enforcement has a duty to protect children. And just like Cassie Ventura's lawsuit prompted that investigation, rap lyrics, and if there's any truth to these allegations, and I don't know if there is, but that's something that law enforcement has to pay attention to and conduct an investigation. If there's any truth to this, they need to protect those children. So that's something that may result in a criminal investigation if there's anyone that can come forward and substantiate these allegations.
Right. So you would need somebody else to come forward to go to police with this.
You really would need witnesses or a victim in a case like this. I mean, law enforcement doesn't want to initiate a prosecution based on rap lyrics alone because people say all sorts of things in music that aren't necessarily true. But if there's a witness that says, hey, this happened to me, or I saw this happen to another victim, then that's something that law enforcement will take notice of, and that's reason to open an investigation.
So interesting. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm sure this is just the beginning of this saga. Neama, thank you so much, as always, for your expertise.
Of course, Christina. Thanks for having me.